Welcome, friends. It's 9:28 on a Saturday evening from my undisclosed city in an undisclosed location where I am going to be talking to you a little bit more today about Bonapartism and its practical applications for the future of America. Like I've done before and I've been doing continuously and will do, is that I still strongly support the re-election of Donald Trump as President of these United States of America. I believe that he is the only hope that our country really has to restoring any sense of stability, of sanity, and of true political unity in our nation. I don't think that President Trump is really all that divisive so much in his policies. I think the vast majority of the American public support his policies, even in, somewhat more, maybe in slightly more modest forms, but I think the vast majority of the public believe, at least in principle, in his ideas. I think it is in his rhetoric that has a lot of people concerned and maybe skeptical, and that is something that you and I have been hearing since day one. And there have been actually quite a few videos made, like social experiments made, where people will truly describe Donald Trump's political ideologies, but say, "Oh, Joe Biden supports those," and Joe Biden, as we know, has hijacked a lot of President Trump's policy positions, especially on things like China, on things like trade, on protection of intellectual property, which are all very concerning for the future of American economy, for the position of American commerce, and to make sure that America still remains a beacon for creative and intellectual endeavors, especially in fields like medicine, science, technology. Intellectual property theft is one of the major concerns of our time, and I am so happy that really, because of if it wasn't for President Trump, we would not be having conversations like this one. Now, what is preventing a lot of this? And unfortunately, Donald Trump has, I believe, played into their hands, and this is not the politics of a strong man. And I know that President Trump likes to depict himself as being a strong man, a vibrant man, a strong leader, but he still plays into the hands of the technocratic regime. Technocrats are individuals who manage the state to a point where they are no longer become accountable to the people. We see technocracies pop up in political systems such as in the European Union, in China, and increasingly in the United States. The United States has become more and more technocratic for the past, I would say, 20 years, especially since the attacks of September 11th. The attacks of September 11th really became the golden age, I think, of one of the worst type of technocrat out there, and those are the neocons. Now, neocons were a political movement of center-left Democrats, Trotskyite Democrats, who became dismayed by the policies of the Democratic Party in the 1960s and 70s, and so broke rank and joined the Republicans and began to marshal the forces of reshaping American foreign policy to be one of a hostile liberalism, a type of liberalism that would go out and promote democracies all across the world, that would promote free market neoliberal capitalism all across the world, even at the point of the bayonet and a gun barrel, in order to get it done. It was the neocon technocrats like John Bolton, Dershowitz, Cheney, and others that, lied to the American public about pushing for war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Now, that being said, it was Donald Trump he has been talking a lot about bringing our troops home, but this is still something where Trump needs to come down harder on, and that is for the elimination of the neocons in government, to forever expel them from the Republican Party, to forever expel them from policy decision making in America, because they have been consistently wrong about U.S. foreign policy for the past quarter century. The technocratic regime of both the Bush-Obama administrations made it possible for the technocrats to have this amount of power for this amount of time. Now, the President of the United States right now, I believe, is still holding true to his promise that he wants to expose these technocrats. He does not say the term technocrat that much. He doesn't even use the term deep state all that much. If he doesn't want to be as divisive but still want to bring a message home, he needs to bring up the technocratic underpinnings that underlie the government of the United States of America. By constantly homing in on the technocratic regime, he can win this election, because the vast majority of the Americans do not like technocrats. They do not trust technocrats, and they do not see technocrats as representing their best interests. They represent the interest of the private elite. Bonapartism, for its part, represents a dramatic breakaway from the technocratic elite. And in a situation like when Napoleon was in, and what other leaders across history have been in, where bloated, corrupt technocrats were considered to be the quote-unquote guardians of the democracy that they found themselves in, it became increasingly clear that the traditional modes, the traditional gatekeepers, no longer held the public's best interests at heart. They no longer represented the public's interest. In order to become a true Bonapartist, and in order to truly cement himself as one of the great men in history, an Übermensch type of politician, Donald Trump needs to come out harder against the technocrats, because that is going to be a more appealing message, I believe, to middle America, to modern voters who say, wait a minute, Democratic technocrats who are in the hands of the pharmaceutical companies and of the Halliburton oil machine and other large corporations need to be exposed for what they truly are, and wish to stop forever these endless wars of regime change across the world, forever and ever. The Bonapartist ideology plays a big part in trying to destroy and hone in the power of the technocrats by making the state a type of liberalism on horseback, where the appearance of opposition is there, but everyone knows that there is really only one strong man, because the democracy, the civilization has become a point where there is unfortunately no going back, where we do need a strong man. Donald Trump, if he was serious about becoming that type of strongman, and I support that type of strongman, then he needs to use the rhetoric more, and he needs to hone in on the idea of more of technocratic regimes, and needs to call them out when necessary. So, President Trump, if you're listening to this, any members of the administration, please take my advice. Please expose the technocrats, expose the Democrats for what they truly are. And I believe the vast majority of Americans will once again, as they did 4 years ago, come to you and vote for you in November. Thank you.